I like advice and I want to hear it. I want to live a better life. And if I'm complaining about something, like, go ahead and tell me if you know something I don't know to make it better. But I have not been one for the last few years. I think probably longer, if you ask my friends, to spill the tea about myself when I'm like going through something or feeling feelings, you know? Sometimes with some people for some situations, but it's very like, I want to say it's very like selective and not necessarily even on purpose. And I don't tell everything, and I'll tell you when I'm like at my wit's end, where it's like I must tell someone. My therapist isn't picking up. You're here, sit on down. But here's the thing, like, for example, the other day I was complaining. Let me see if I can remember exactly what I was venting about. I shouldn't be like, I complain. That's not fun. I'm not a complainer. I'm something much cooler than that. I'm a person with feelings and I'm talking about them. There's got to be something better than the word complaining for that. And vent, to be honest. Anytime I say vent, I think of like a vent on the ceiling or the wall. I don't think of like a fun powwow, a fun chit chat with my friends, a fun girl, spill the tea. Tell me what's going on with you. Tell me everything. I can't remember very well what I was talking about, and I can't think of any other examples. Let me see if anything else comes to mind. Give me a minute. Okay, this actually isn't what I was originally thinking of, but I think that it's a good enough story to tell and will still make the point. So I'm gonna tell it. So we will be changing names because I am not that rude and malicious. But let's be honest, no one in my life is watching these videos. I don't really have anyone that knows about this YouTube channel. Actually, that's not true. I think I do have some family that knows, but I don't think they watch everything. And even if they did, that's fine. That's fine. We love them. That's great. Thank you for the support. That's what we're here to say. But like the people that I'm about to talk about and anyone else I really ever talk about, they're not watching. Anyone that has enough investment and love of me, as far as my friends and family, that would sit through a whole video, they already know everything that I'm about to say, probably because that means that they're good enough to sit there and hear it in real life. I am sitting there the moment it happens, calling them up, going, I got something to say. Sit down. Grab a snack. It's gonna take a minute because long story short, short story long. Anyways, so let's talk about the lovely time that I bought my horse. And you might know that buying a pet to animal people is just like buying a car to a car person. You know what I mean? Like, you work your whole life to get there and you just hope that you can have your dream animal, whatever it is, your dream pet, your dream life, your dream car. You get the point, okay? Like, picture that. Now, for some context, I had been living a hard life. I hadn't been doing super well physically, which I did not realize how bad I was doing, and that was me tumbling into almost dying and being in the hospital, and then a lot of complications that we are now trying to heal from. But it's taking forever and a day. It's taking forever and a day. I mean, no complaints, but all complaints. Where's HR? I would also like to send in some surveys. Would like this to go faster, a little bit more smoother. Anyways, we're thankful that we are here and can heal, okay? That's what I'm supposed to say, so that's what I'm gonna say. So I've been living a hard life of not feeling super great, but trying hard, you know? Like I was trying to do my little side hustles. I had, you know, little things going on. I was dog sitting at my house. I'm sure I had something else going on. I usually like to have more than one side hustle. And life in general was just, you know, it had been throwing some stuff at me. I think being like alive is hard, and we had moved a couple of times. My husband had switched jobs a couple of times. We had, you know, things going on in the family. The family was having a bit of a hard time, and you know, I'm in the family, so I share the hard time. My mom had passed away, and that was, you know, it was a time that I appreciate I had with my mom, my parents. But also, like, it was still difficult to watch. Obviously, not like as difficult as her, but we don't need to compare experiences. My experience was my own, and it was difficult to be the daughter of someone who was dying and all that that entailed. My mom leaned on me for a lot of help and support, as she should. That was how our relationship and the understanding that we had, especially in the beginning before she was diagnosed with her terminal illness. And there were things that she wanted help with and things that she couldn't do, or issues and problems and pains that, one, I guess, sounded similar to some things I had experienced in my life. And now that she was like, wait a minute, how do I get out of this? What's happening? I have this issue. I'm having this pain. I'm doing this. I don't know how to, And so she was just looking for answers, obviously, as you would, a desperate person, because your body is like warring against you. She also had some issues with some functionality, being able to do things before she got diagnosed. And I like to bring up the before she got diagnosed, because before you're diagnosed, especially with like a terminal illness, it's like, okay, we know, we're here, what do we do? Let's make schedules, who's cooking dinner, who's doing this, who's sitting with you, who's bringing you to doctor's appointments, yada, yada, yada. But before things are still going downhill, we're still ending up in a lot of doctor's offices, we're still having lots of issues and pain, we still need help doing things because all of a sudden we can't do something, we're in so much pain, we're lying on the ground, whatever. We need help, we still need someone to sit with us, make us dinners, do all those things, take us places, drive us around. And then even after being diagnosed, there are things I would say, I can speak about me and myself. Okay, sorry, just making sure hubby's not texting me, trying to be a good wife so that he doesn't come home and be like, honey, I was asking you how many asparagus stems you want and you didn't tell me and now I have 20. Just kidding, I love you, and you wouldn't do that because you're great, and I'm sorry. Thanks for going grocery shopping. That's what I should say. And full stop, period. Thanks. I'm grateful. Moving on. I can say, as someone who needs help, wants help, needs help, and has a caregiver, there are things and that happened to me that I'm not just going to be like, hey, I need you to come over and help me, or I'm having a bad week, I need you to, There are certain things that only my caregiver husband is sitting there experiencing with me, because one, it's intense, it's embarrassing, which embarrassment, it can be a choice, I am not really that embarrassed, I don't choose to be embarrassed, but it's embarrassing because, sometimes you go through those things with other people. For me, it would be on accident. And, people say things that then cause me to be like, whoa, I'm a little embarrassed that that's what you think and that now that's what you're going to tell other people. That has been my experience anyways. But one thing that I think she would feel completely fine with me sharing is that when she was diagnosed with a terminal illness, they also recommended that she go to therapy, and they had a therapist at the doctor's office that dealt with cancer and cancer treatments and terminal things and blah 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 blah. I don't know, I wish I could tell you exactly how she felt on it. One, I don't even remember, but two, I don't know what that was. I don't know if she knew what that was. But she wanted to give it a try. Oh, we just got an update, the baby is not here yet, but they're at the hospital, and they've been at the hospital all day. Well, cool, I guess. Anyways, so my mom was going to go to therapy and talk about things and whatever, and she needed someone to drive. She wasn't clear to drive, and she was like, girl, I went to therapy with you years ago. You better be coming with me. And so I was like, cool, great. And then there were things that like the therapist talked about that she was like kind of like thinking ability. The therapist would recommend things or other treatments or mental things, and my mom would be like, I just want to do a little research about it first. I want to do a little is that for me? Do I like that? Fair enough. Respect. So some of those things she wanted me to like, find some stuff for her to look at and things like that, do a little research with her, two heads better than one. Also, I know her head a lot. I know how she thinks. And so I'm like, okay, I know what you're looking for. Let me use my Googling powers, my powers of the internet. Also, I took notes at her therapy appointments for her. She was like, write this down, take notes. Anyways, the point is that there's a lot. It's involving, and some of the things can be things you don't ask everyone to do with you, or that you don't want everyone to know about. Wow, I've really gone on a couple of detours and tangents. Let me get back to the story. The story is that life had been a lot for me, and I had consumed myself with some of the family matters going on with my mom, with things going on with me and my husband. We moved to be closer to my mom because I was quite involved. We had other, just life, crazy things. And then I was also going downhill physically. But at that time, I didn't have really any real solid good diagnosis on a handle of what was happening. So I'm like trying to fit in doctor's appointments for me to go to figure things out. But I had gone to all the doctor's appointments before. I've done the colonoscopies, I've done the rheumatologist for autoimmune kind of stuff, and other oscopies, colonoscopy, cystoscopy, endoscopy. I've done all the oscopies. I've done basically like all of the testing of traditional medicine. And so at that point, like trying to find a doctor and a new test, or redoing the test that we've already done, to be like, what in the world? I'm going downhill and trying to fix it. Anyways, wait, but for context, you do need to know that I was still like walking and doing stuff functional, especially at the time that I got my horse. I wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to be riding my horse. I was like, no, this will only be better. And I got a horse that I could ride. I wasn't like, I'm going to become an Olympian. And I didn't do any jumping or anything. I was just doing my happy little trails, brushing my horse, having good times. That's what I was looking for. I looked for a safe horse, fun horse. I was looking for life. I was looking for dopamine. I was looking for something for me, something in my life that was happy and good for my nervous system, and to kind of balance out how my life had been for the last few years, because I felt like I was kind of drowning in that kind of stuff, losing myself, losing my mind. I was also in therapy, of course, in and out during all of this time, whenever I could be. Anyway, so I'm trying to give enough context so that you understand how much buying this horse and living my horse girl life and dreams really meant to me. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just buying me another horse, gotta get it on the farm, gotta do it. No. It was my lifeline, right? Like, therapy, good and great, but at the time what I needed was not just therapy, it was some life changes, And I did at the time want to be there as much as I could with my mom and for my family and with my family and yada, yada, yada. Still be a good wife, because we were newlyweds. My husband and I were newlyweds when my mom got sick. My mom was actually having some intense signs, I think, when we were planning our wedding. So it wasn't long after that my mom was calling me like, hey, come home. Need some help. I need some camaraderie. I need you. So I was just trying to like get my bearings on living with my husband and being a wife and, doing house things. And I got really sick. I had a lot more symptoms after I got married that I did not experience before in my life. And then trying to keep up with it, I'm happy for the decisions that I made then. And then it was right. And with what I knew, I did what I could with what I knew. What I knew about my body was nobody was telling me anything. I didn't find any other answers besides, you are a woman, and this is how womanhood is. This is how it is when you have ovaries. And life is stressful, and you might just need to be doing things for your mental health, because the mind can do some crazy things. True. But that's not what it was. We know that now. So whatever they were saying and whatever I was doing for my mental health and stuff wasn't really helping as much as I needed the help. Anyways, so I went to go get my horse. Oh my goodness. I promise one day I'm going to tell a story and you're going to be like, good job. Beginning, middle, and end. No detours. It meant a lot to me to get a horse and to take some time for myself and to like have this part of my life to be the girl that I've always wanted to be, that, I used to be, I used to ride horses. I used to dilly-dally on a saddle, okay? And that's all I ever wanted, was to dilly-dally on a saddle again with my friends. down a cute little trail, just staring at all the trees, the nature. Touch the trees, feel the wind in my hair, give my horse little treats, horse slobber all over my hands. Anyway, so I go looking for a horse, and we're fine financially at the time too. I feel like I have to give all of these like footnotes to be like, okay, I wasn't as bad physically as I am now, and nobody was I was told I was fine, and that it was just all in my head. So I was like, cool, well, if I'm fine, it's all in my head, then there's no reason to do anything different. I'm not going to live like a disabled person if you're telling me you're clearly not disabled. Turns out I am. Anyways, well, dynamic disability. So like, you get it. You get it. I'm going to. So I go look for a horse. I come across a horse that is old as dirt. Old as dirt. And I showed my husband because I thought it was laughable how old this horse was. It was about 30 years old. And I was like, why is anyone selling a 30-year-old horse and being like, great horse, basically like a teenager, ride him in the trails all day long, do whatever you want with him. I'm like, what do you mean? It's not like on death's door? What do you mean? And I'm like laughing, and my husband's like, let's go look at the horse. And I was like, okay, as a joke? Are we looking at the horse as a joke? I don't want to waste people's time. I'm not like that, okay? But I found myself in a car. Went to go see this horse. Phenomenal. I have been on a few horses in my life, nothing to write home about, but I've been on a few horses throughout my life, and this is the safest and most in control I have ever felt on a horse's back, which is ridiculous for sitting on a horse for the first time, okay? That's like meeting someone out of the blue for the first time and being like, I've never felt a connection with anyone in my life. Let's make a contract. Let's be husband and wife. Let's be best friends. Let's live life together. Within the first 15 minutes, I mean, I guess that happens. IDK. I mean, I met my husband and was like, I could marry him. I could see it. But I wasn't like, I've never felt a connection with anyone before. Like, no. Like, that's what I'm talking about with this horse. I love this 30-year-old horse that I laughed at. How dare me? Now I'm offended at myself for laughing at this horse. Anyways, great size for me, and big enough to carry my husband as well, because my husband hadn't really ridden and I wanted him to be able to ride with me one day. 2 horses. That requires 2 horses, but before then he needed to learn how to like be on a horse. So we're gonna start with 1. Okay, also this is my first horse. I didn't know like to own, so I was like, I didn't know if I really wanted to be a horse owner. That's quite different. You know, you can be a horse girl without owning a horse. In fact, a lot of horse girls are. I would say most horse girls in the world, the ratio is they don't own the horse. I digress yet again. So it's the perfect horse. I feel so safe, so comfortable, and feeling safe next to a half-ton animal, that's a must in my book. Feeling safe next to an animal that outweighs some cars on the road, I would say, hello. That is, you wouldn't think it's possible, but I did. I felt safe. I felt like I could ride. I was like, this is the horse. And like, there were like technical things you look for, like that it's still sound to ride, that it rides and does the things that you want it to do. So it rode Western, which is what I wanted. It was an old lesson horse, which is great because lesson horses, they're built different. They are made to build different, because they got to be going on with all the wiggly wagglings of children and adults who have never sat in a saddle before. It's different. I have respect for lesson horses, okay? Respect for all the horses. I love them all. But lesson horses, they have a special place. They have a special place in my mind, heart, and on the leaderboard. Because you can't just get on anybody's horse. And as someone who's gotten on just anybody's horse, don't just get on anybody's horse, okay? Don't. It's a no-no for me. So to me, this horse is worth its weight in gold times a million. I'm like, this is wonderful. Yet the horse was only, I don't remember, was it $1,000? $2,000? Not a lot for a horse, I guess. Not for what I was looking at. For my area and my shopping, the market at the time, I was like, on sale, discount. I got the horse, super happy. I saw the horse. I was like, I'm gonna pay the $1,000 for this amazing, they call them like babysitter horses. I think you get the idea. It's like you can put anyone who's never ridden a horse before, and they're not gonna like get bucked off. They're not gonna run off into no man's land. You never see them again. They're gonna be okay with them fidgeting around and doing things and, you know, flapping their feet. Lots of kids do that. In fact, I feel like a lot of adults do that. Also, like when you are learning how to like hold the reins to like steer the horse, a lot of times people will be, they're more like aggressive and not as clear with what they want. Like the horse is kind of like, what are you doing? What do you want? Like you're pull and then you don't, and then you're this and you're that, but then you're this and you're, you know, like there's a lot of mixed signals going on as a rider who is a new rider, because they don't know. They don't know about the seat position. They don't know about pushing. They don't know about pressure. They don't know about leg placement. They don't know about all the buttons that horses can have. All the things, right? So it can be very confusing, frustrating, and maybe a little, you know, communication difference with you and a 1,000-pound animal can end up in like a sticky situation you don't want to be in. So you could be like, I was telling the horse to stop, and the horse is like, you were telling me to go, go, go. The horse is just trying to do what it thinks you're telling it to do, blah, 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 or is frustrated and then loses its mind. That's a whole nother thing that happens. So anyways, this horse is great, amazing. This is the horse I want. Oh, also it was like barefoot. It didn't have a lot of maintenance needs at the time. And I wanted a barefoot horse. I didn't want a horse that was gonna like kick me or step on me and have those iron metal shoes on. No, 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 no. But like not all horses are good with not having the horseshoes on. Sometimes they need them on because it's more comfortable for them. Blah, 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 blah. You get the picture, you get the point. But it's important that you have this information, because I go home and be like, sit on it. I don't want to just make a rash decision. I'm sitting on it and I'm going, okay, I'll text you in a minute, you know, nice people who own the horse, to be like, yay or nay. I'm so sorry. I should be embarrassed that I am me. Anyways. So then I get a phone call, right? And the only phone call that I should be getting from someone that I said, hey, I'm getting a horse, should be, yay, I'm so excited for you. Do you want an info dump? Do you want to tell me all about your horse? You know how like people like just want to talk about and show you pictures of their children? Not that I'm comparing horses to children, or their pets, or the new guy that they're dating. That's all they want to talk about. That's me. Okay, with whatever endeavor I'm doing, that's all I wanted to talk about. So I'm like, yes, my horse thing. And so someone calls and goes, I got you a free horse. That's amazing. Like, what? That could be really cool. I mean, if it's free, it's for me. I love me a little discount. I love me a little off-brand. I love me a little great value, you know? So I am like, oh, that's really exciting. Not only that, but what did I say earlier? I said I wanted my little hubby poo or my friends to ride with me, and so I need at least 2 horses, but I wanted just to start with 1. I didn't want to think about getting a second horse until later. But anyways, my mind was basically made up about the horse that I just saw. I think that at this point I had texted them and was like, I want it. Bring it on down. But I was getting someone to transport the horse from their farm to where I was keeping the horse on a farm over here. And that takes, you know, time to coordinate, blah, 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 blah. So in the meantime, someone's like, free horse. I'm like, yay, cool. Let me come look at it. Now, here's the thing. In case you don't know, if someone is like giving you a free horse, same thing. If someone's giving you like a free car, you're like, wait a minute, let me take a look before I just take it. Because a lot of times someone could be giving you something that is a problem, and you're gonna have to put more money in it to get it to where it's usable for you. And sometimes the money is like, I could have bought a whole new car, or a car that I wanted, used car that I wanted, for less money than I'm putting into this car for your free car. You know what I mean? Not to mention that like someone could give you a free dog, but then the dog has like aggression issues, or doesn't, you know, it has a lot of health issues, or maybe it's even like deaf and blind. And like, great, all of those things can still have value in the right place with the right people in the right situation, you know? Not everyone is going to be the perfect fit for that car, that deaf and blind dog, that particular whatever. Let's move on. So I know that because I'm a person that lives in this world. So I go, okay, I'm going to go look at this horse and suss out the situation. Either way, I'm going to be coming in hot with extreme gratitude that they even were going to think of me. I feel like, I mean, it depends on who it is, where it's like, this is a problem animal. Oh, this is a great animal, just take it. And other people who are like, this is my baby, but it needs to be in a different place. And I think you're the right person to, hey, I just have this and it's neither here or there for me. You want this? Take it. Okay, there's different vibes. Either way, I wanted to come in with the thank you so much. Flattered that you would even think of me as being responsible enough to take on your wonderful, precious horse that you've had for, I think, the whole life of the horse. Anyways, so this horse was smaller than the horse that I was looking at. It was not been ridden recently, which, you know, like if you're going to go look at a car, you're like, okay, this car hasn't been driven recently. There's going to be some issues. There's going to be some tune-up. When you can't like drive the car when you go see it, then you don't know. You don't know how it drives. You don't know the sounds it makes. You don't know the smells coming out of it. You don't know the smoke in the, you don't know. You don't know what you're getting because you can't test it to the full because it's not even there yet, right? You just have to go in the people's word. I'm just going to make faces for that one. You know. So because the horse is smaller, I probably wouldn't have been able to put like my husband on the horse. And I didn't know how the horse rode. It also sounded like the horse had been rode mostly English and not Western. And that is different. It's different, like you sit differently in the saddle. It's a different balance, which means the horse is compensating for a different balance, for a different life, for a different kind of riding, you know? It's different. I didn't want to ride English at the time. I still don't. That might change, but it's hard. I think it's fun and great, but it's hard. And I want to sit. I want to sit and enjoy everything. And English saddle, like you're sitting up. You are ready to compete. And I don't have the energy. I don't have the core strength. So I'm working on it though. We're getting the core strength because you should have it for like life in general or riding horses in general. Don't think I don't know. I know. So I'm super excited to see the horse and just have fun with the horse. I'm a horse girl. I want to just be around the horse anyways. But it's not been super handled, so its manners might not be eye to eye. And I need a horse whose manners are on point because my husband is not a cowboy. He had like no real dealings with a horse to speak of on his resume, his qualifications. So if my husband's helping me with the horse, I don't want him in a sticky situation. I don't want my wonderful caregiver, my everything. He does everything for me. He is the biggest asset and commodity that we have, that I have. I don't want him getting hurt because a horse decided to you know, to my husband. That's a no. So I'm already like, So I get a vet check. A vet check, in case you don't know, vet check is when they come out to see, like, you know, where's this horse at health-wise? Can it still be ridden? Like, how close is it to death? All of those things, you know. And so the horse had a couple of issues. All horses do, you know, all people do. It had a couple of issues, but it had, like, a couple of issues where I was like, I don't know about that. And on top of, it doesn't have the history and experience that I'm looking for. It wasn't a lesson horse, you know. It's supposed to be a horse anyone could ride. That's what they say. But unless it's had anyone and everyone on it, do you know that? I don't know. I don't know that. That's the important thing. It wasn't a lesson horse. It was smaller, so my husband couldn't get on the horse. I couldn't ride the horse to be like, yes, it's moving well. I understand. It's what I want. It's great with me. It was okay with the ground manners. I did do some ground manner stuff. It was okay. I was happy. I wasn't like astounded or blown out of the water, but I wasn't super worried. And it hadn't been ridden recently, so it was going to need some tuning up and all of this stuff anyways. And I didn't know if I was at a place, you know, just even though I wasn't disabled, I was like, I want to still be sound of mind. I want to think before I do. I want to think, you know what, I do seem to have less energy than other people and not be able to do as much. So is that the energy that I want to give? Do I have energy to give for that? And if I do, is that where I want to put it? Isn't all of this work to tune up the horse before I can even ride and all of this stuff? Do I have the education and the experience for it? I don't know. That's another story. Now, in the midst of this, me trying to use my brain, use my thinking ability, use reality of like who I am, right? And the kind of energy I have, what I'm looking for, all the things, even though I felt the other horse laughable that it was 30, it was It's been doing, it was in the lesson week that week, you know, it's been kept up with all of its health stuff. I had the paperwork for it. Like, it was in a program, it was doing things, it had all the horsey friends, it was used to cows, it was all the things that I needed. It was used to people like me. I could get on, ride, do all the things, whatever, right? Versus other horse free, but also just like a little like, okay, well, it has some health issues we have to get through. It's going to probably have some riding issues and some strength it needs to build back, you know, all of these things. Now, the person, not the person who owns the horse, great, the person that connected me, we're going to call them Jessica. Jessica is like, you should be so grateful, which I was, right? Like, you're going to take, like, there's no question. Of course you're going to take this horse. It's a free horse. And I'm like, Jessica, whoa, slow down, cowboy. You're not a cowboy and you're not a horse person. You also are not me. So you don't know what kind of horse circumstances that I really need for me and my limitations, my health, my whatever, and whatever. And also, like, just getting a horse tuned up, that's money. That's money, okay? Even if it's just health-wise, money. Got it? You don't know my financial situation. Right? Like, this is what I'm thinking in my head. And I was like, you know, I'm going to think about it because that's what you should do. You should think about things. And Jessica got a little up in arms. Jessica was like, well, I was talking to this horse owner over here. I don't know. This is gossip. I wasn't there. Maybe they did say this. Maybe they didn't. But either way, Jessica goes, I was talking to them and I told them that you were looking at this horse over here. What did you say? It was a Rocky Mount horse or something, whatever breed. I told them, they said that's a trash horse. What they have, that's a Tennessee Walker. That's up here. That's really great quality. That's like the Rolls Royce of horses. Like, why you can't get Jessica, goodbye. Rude. What is happening here? Right? You understand. If you don't, let's just back it up and dissect it just 1 second and you'll get it. If you have a pet, a car, anything in your life, and someone else says, oh, that's stupid, it's trash, but it works for you, well, then it's not stupid and trash, right? I don't know if you've ever heard this saying. Jessica apparently hasn't, but one man's trash is another person's treasure. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You don't know me. Obviously, they do know me. But you get what I'm saying? I'm like, first of all, who are you to say that one breed is better than another one? That's like ridiculous in my mind, in my opinion. And then second of all, who are you as someone who knows nothing about horses? I mean, you were there. You saw a horse, you touched it. You probably sat on one when you were 5. I don't know. So maybe you know something, but not enough. Not enough about my situation. Nothing to be like, this is the horse you need to have too. 3, in case you're not a horse girl, and even if you are, maybe you don't know, let me break down what exactly they were saying. They were saying that a Rocky Mountain mare is worse, trash, compared to a Tennessee Walker mare, which, first of all, in case you don't know, they're both gaited horses. It's like saying that like a golden retriever is trash compared to a Labrador. It's like, they're really close. Jessica. What? Here's another thing, is you were taking this random horse person that owned this horse and taking their opinions as word and fact, which you and I know that people's opinions are opinions, and that is different than a fact. And someone's opinion can differ from someone else's opinion. Like all these things, right? And you were putting their opinion over mine, their knowledge over my knowledge, but you don't know who has more knowledge. Not to mention that I'm like, you've known me my whole life. And if you're going to be here for me in this amazing, beautiful moment in my life, for this new chapter and whatever, I think you need to be a cheerleader, you know? Just yes to everything. This is great. What do you want me to do? This is so much fun. Not the let's be a little bit aggressive and force someone else's opinions that you don't know. I would imagine, I'm pretty sure, I can say this 99.999% accurately, that they know me and are closer to me than they are this random person, right? Yet they were putting their feelings, thoughts, and opinions over mine, and aggressively. It wasn't like, oh, are you sure? Because they said that. No, 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 no. The tone of voice was like, huh, I found this. I got this for you. This person said this. You don't know. You need to get this horse. Why would you, like, why are you, I didn't even realize you were considering the other horse still. Like, if it's one or the other, you get this one. You get this one. Anyways, so, short story long story short, I don't always like telling people things that are important to me or how hard life is and what I want to do to fix it, because they're not always cheerleaders, and sometimes they're aggressive, and sometimes they say things and I'm like, you're not here with me. You don't understand the assignment. You're not matching my energy. You're not here for me. And in fact, I don't think you're doing all of those things together. I don't think you're doing one of those things isolatedly. I think, in fact, you are making something harder for me. And you're making me either be in a position where, do I explain to them? Do I take the minute to like, okay, it's a learning curve. Maybe you just forgot, or maybe let's take a minute and be like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but also, you know, that's their opinion of an animal. And like, you have your favorite cat. I wouldn't say that your cat is trash because it's not a, you know, hairless feline. What are cat breeds? I don't really know any cat breeds. That's what I just found out about myself right here, right now. You saw that live. What is I thought not all cats are the same. I know there's munchkin cats with the cute little legs. I do know that. And I know those Siamese-y. Yeah. So do I have to walk them through that? Do I have to help them with some thinking ability? Do I have to de-escalate the situation and be like, why were you escalating it in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, I don't need the extra responsibility to help someone else think through with their brain and to be a little bit more how to communicate with someone, how to communicate with me, and what's appropriate, when I can barely remember and think through anything for myself, right? Don't get me started. Anyways, the point of the story is that sometimes I tell people things and I'm like, I'll give you a chance. And then it's like, you weren't listening. You didn't understand. I really think that being my friend and being there for me in this moment was really an easy job for you. You listen, you match my energy. If I'm like, man, life is hard right now. I'm going through this, and this, and I want to, girl, tell me. I didn't ask for anything else. I didn't ask for a whole bunch of contradiction to what I'm saying. I didn't ask for you to write me a novel and to help me through my life. I didn't ask for you to think twice. I didn't ask for you to look up from your phone. Okay? You sit there, you play a little game on your phone, you can scroll through Instagram, and as long as I go, oh, life is hard, and I'm jibber-jabbing away, you just, yes, girl. And at the end, you go, well, that sounds hard. That sounds difficult. You say what I said, and maybe change the words a little bit. I said, life is hard, da-da-da-da-da. Well, that sounds difficult. You don't know me, my situation, my brain, my feelings, right? Because we're different people. You can't really feel what I'm feeling. So then you can just go, ooh, girl, I can't imagine. If I'm telling you and I'm info dumping, I love horses, this, that, and the other, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then you go, do a little chuckle, and then go, that's interesting, crazy, didn't know that. Match my energy. That's all it takes to be a good listener and a good friend for me. Now that I've gone on that tangent, along with the other 50,000 tangents I've gone on, I promised my husband that I wouldn't film for hours on end anymore because he's editing now. And I'm seeing that I'm on like 2 hours right now. I think he'll do it, and he'll do it without complaining, and I love my husband for that. I love you. I love you. You're the best editor in the whole world, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening to me. And thanks for the I know. I felt it. I felt the head nodding. Thank you. Anyways, also, just long story short, I did get the horse that I felt was the best match for me, and not the other horse, the free horse, which I heard later that they were like, man, good thing she didn't get that horse. It was like dead in the field, like just a couple months after. Let's imagine the spiral I would have gone down if that's what I had decided to bring home. And that's what happened after me trying so hard, after me needing this in my life, right? I should be a little bit more confident in me and my decisions.